Hey homeschoolers, I'm coming to you with a video today about being careful which versions you get of these RC books. If you, because sometimes maybe you don't want to print them out and you find one in a thrift store, and you could save some paper just if you get one. But we've got to be careful about what version of the books we're getting, because a lot of times the versions have changed over the years, and there's abridgments out there, and we need to be careful that we're actually using the right version of the book, like the one that matches the actual Robinson curriculum. So let's take an example here. Little Women, which is the Robinson curriculum number 49. So we have here the one we have from the thrift store, Little Women, Armada paperbacks for boys and girls. Okay, so and it says it's Little Women, the right? Robinson curriculum version with it, and we have Little Women complete authorized edition. This is the one with the curriculum. It's 1910 1911 copyright, and this one. So let me take a look here. And we're going to look at chapter 10, but this one says, and this is what we want to look for, this abridged edition, 1963. So this is an abridged edition, and this particular book was from 1968. So, and we'll see, okay, so the contents itself has 23 chapters. The Robinson version has 23 chapters, but we'll also notice it says part the first here. Robinson curriculum version has a part the second, which has another bunch of chapters, and so this version here we're missing half the book, because all it has is 23 chapters, and what they've done is they've split this into two. And if you look at the back page here, they're saying the sequel to Little Women, Good Wives, will be available blah, blah, in Armada in March 1968, right? It's not really the sequel, it's really the second half of the book. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part, and you'll see the number of pages is 188. If we look at page 203 of this Robinson book, we go to page 203, part the second, there's 202 pages in part one versus 188 pages. So we're missing 14 pages, and we're talking, and it's more than, you're missing more than that, really, because the text size on this one is a lot smaller than the text size on here. So you're actually missing way more than what you think you're missing. So let's just take an example here. Chapter 10, and compare them side by side here. Chapter 10 is a good one, a good example of that. So let's go to chapter 10 here. And if we read here, in the abridged version, it says, as spring came on and the lengthening days gave long afternoons for work and play of all sorts, the garden had to be put in order, and each sister had a quarter of the little plot to do what she liked with, Hannah used to say. If we look at the real version, we have, as spring came on, a new set of amusements became the fashion, and the lengthening days gave long afternoons for work and play of all sorts. And then it's a separate sentence. The garden had been put in order, and each sister had a quarter of the little plot to do what she liked with, so Hannah used to say. And then, so it's also missing this too. And a new set of amusements became the fashion is totally missing. They've taken it out. And if we look at the dialogue here, it says, I'd know which each of them gardens belong to. And this one says, I'd know which each of them gardens belong to. So they're changing the dialogue as well. And that's not even the worst part here. And you'll see that there's missing sentences all over the place. And let me go over here. And the big change here is, it says here, if we go to Pickwick, the president read the paper, which was filled with original tales, poetry, good news, funny advertisements, and hints in which they good-naturedly reminded each other of their faults and shortcomings, which is right here. And then it says, on one occasion, Mr. Pickwick put on a pair of spectacles without any glasses, rapped upon the table, hemmed, and having stared hard at Mr. Snodgrass, who was tilting back in his chair till he arranged himself properly, began to read. And then we have the actual, what he actually read, the Pickwick portfolio. And we have quite a lengthy excerpt from that. And we get to read the same thing ourselves. And it even has a weekly report on the 4 characters. And the abridged version doesn't have any of that. It's totally missing. It says, as the president finished reading the paper, a round of applause followed, and then Mr. Snodgrass rose to make a proposition. So, and then it says, as the president finished reading the paper, which I beg leave to assure my readers is a bona fide copy of one written by bona fide girls once upon a time, a round of applause followed, and then Mr. Snodgrass rose. So it's missing this whole thing in parentheses as well. So, you know, it's all over the place. These abridged versions are not the real Little Women. It's a condensed version. It's like a Reader's Digest version. It's not the real thing. So if you're reading an abridged version, I would say throw it out and just print out the Robinson version. Get rid of these abridged. Make sure before you use a print like one that you found in a thrift store. Just make sure that it's the real version and not an abridged fake version. I mean, it's almost, it's purporting itself to be the real thing, but it's not. It's really a fake. It's really a counterfeit of the real Little Women. I'm sure the author would not appreciate how they've chopped up they've chopped up this book. They've chopped it up, to for some reason, which I don't know, but like just to make it a small paperback, I guess. So let's be, I'd rather read the real thing and not the dumbed down. I mean, if you look at some other ones, they've dumbed down the language in some of these, and one of the worst offenders of that would be the Hardy Boys, where they had the originals, and then they rewrote them, in the 50s or 60s, and the rewritten version is completely different. I mean, so it's completely dumbed down, and so just just to be careful. Let's just be careful. Make sure we're reading the real thing. So for this one, I am going to get rid of this copy and use only for Little Women. I'm going to be printing this out. So if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below, and we'll see you in the next video.